Hi, welcome to a product review by Robojax. My name is Ahmed Shamshiri, presenting this tutorial from Canada. This tutorial we are going to learn how we can use this W3002 temperature control from DIY More to control DC load and use this as a heater control or cooler control. I'm going to show you the DC version to control a DC load using temperature. Let's get started with this. DIY More has released these two products, DM-W3002. Both of these are exactly the same, but the operating voltage is different. As you can see, this has been labeled at 12 volts and this is 220 volts. It seems also they have 24 volts version. You can use it as a heater control or a cooler control. So in both cases it can be programmed and set. Also you can have a time delay between the heating and cooling if you want to have some kind of delay before it turns off or some kind of delay before it turns on in that case. Also it has a feature where you can set the tolerance or correct the temperature if your temperature deviates from the value. These two are, one is DC, the other is AC. From outside you will not notice the difference. So when you turn it around, you will see that this has been labeled as 220 volts and this has been labeled marked as 12 volts. So there is 24 volts version. Let me open now the DC. The DC doesn't have that AC portion of the module that you see here. Everything else is exactly the same, but because we are supplying 12 volts, that module was providing 12 volts for this device. Now the 12 volts enters here. As you can see, this is the red is the positive, this is the negative, and the negative as before is connected to the black, so this negative out. And this is the positive out. From this positive it goes to the relay and exits back this way. So whatever power you connect in here will be exited. So your 12 volts goes here and turns on and off using this relay, and this is the NTC temperature sensor. Let me close it down. Video is how to use the W3002 DC version, which is 12 or 24 volts, but I have also a separate video showing you how to use the 120 or 220 volts version. The link for that video is below this video in the description. And here we have three buttons here. This is the AC version and that's the DC version. But in terms of functionality, they are exactly the same. So let's focus on this one. Now I have connected 12 volts and the temperature sensor now shows the temperature, the room temperature, which is 22.2 degrees Celsius. When I press this, this shows the start or one temperature. If I press this, this shows the other one. So you can set your upper and lower limit. And this is showing P0. If I press this up, it becomes P1, P2, P3, and then it comes back to P0. If you wait few seconds, the screen will return back to displaying normal temperature. When I press this P0, press it again, it will display the start temperature. This is the start temperature. P0, press again, start temperature, and we can set it, for example, to 65. So wait, and it just goes back to this temperature. Now if I press this, that's 65, the other one is 50. And to set that 50, set the stop temperature, press this P0, go P1, and then press this. When you press it, now this is the stop temperature. After P1, when you press it, that's the stop temperature. Let me do it again, P1, and then here, and then you can change the temperature as you wish. So I'm setting it as 50 and leave. Now let's go to P2, press this, P0, P1, and now P2. When you go on P2, this is, when I press this, this is for tolerance correction. Let's say the temperature that you're measuring is a little low or high, and you want to compensate it, let's say 1.2 degrees, or add or subtract. So let's say you want to add 1.2 degrees. Let's press this, 2, and then here, and then 1.2. Now 1.2 is added. Every temperature that we are receiving, 1.2 will be added on top of it, so it will compensate it. And if you want subtract, and if you want to subtract it, press this, go down until you see negative. Now that's subtracting from the temperature. So after a while, you will see if this deviates from the temperature and it shows the wrong temperature. So that P2 is for this purpose. Now let's go and remove the P2, fix it back. I don't want to change it. So when it is 0, there is no addition or subtraction with that. Wait. Now let's go to P3. P3 is for setting. When I press this, this is the time delay. When the start or stop triggers, it waits. If it is 1, it will be 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. All of these value are, as you can see, it can have up to 10 minutes. It doesn't go up. So what it means is that when the temperature reaches and the relay should turn on and off, if it is 1 minute, it waits 1 minute before turning it on or off. In order to start using it, we will connect external 12 volts at this side. If yours is 24 volts, you will connect 24 volts here. The amount of power or how powerful your source is depend on the load that you're connecting. Let's say if you're connecting a fan here, a 12 volts fan that needs 5 ampere, then you need to connect here a 12 volts 5 ampere power supply. And if you're connecting here a fan or a motor 24 volts 2 ampere, then make sure that you connect the 24 volts with a minimum of 2 ampere or a little higher. For that reason, it's very important. Otherwise, if this is overloaded, the power adapter will not be able to handle it, and this will shut down, or maybe your power device will burn. So here I'm connecting my negative of power supply, the 12 volts that I have, and the positive in here. And as you can see, it's turned on. I've connected these 2 wires are for the output, and I've connected a 12 volts bulb from car, so you can see it. You can connect any other load that you want, like motor, heater. You have a 12 volts, but if you get a 24 volts, that's also fine. You can connect a 24 volts load here. For this purpose, I'm just using this 12 volts load and leaving it like that so you can see it. Now let me test it for you. This is the cooler control. What it means is that we are keeping the temperature always below 65, and something for us doesn't matter, but we will run the cooling system between 50 and 65 in this area. So for P1 we set the stop at 50 degrees. When you set the stop at 50 and P0 start at 65, that is where it acts as a cooler. I'm setting it P0 at the start for 65 and P1 stop at 50. So P0, let me press this once, that's P0, press it again. Now it is 65. If it is not 65, you can go up and down and set it at 65. If I press this and hold it, it will speed up, but suddenly it speeds very fast. And let me show you what is the maximum that it can go. It can go up to 110 degrees Celsius. Let's go down and see what is the minimum. You can set it at minus 50 degrees Celsius. So let's set it back to 65. So we set the start or P0 at 65. Now let's set P1 for 50 degrees. So press this P0 with the arrow, go up. You can come down if you make mistakes. So P1 and then press this. Now this is the temperature that is I've already set, but you can the same way you can go up and down and set it. And I'm leaving it at 50 and just wait, and the blinking will disappear. Now if I press these two, this shows 65, that is the start, and this shows the stop 50 all the time. And if you just wait 5 seconds, it will return back the current temperature of this. So this can be immersed also in liquid or in air. And let's now test it. I've connected these two wires for the output, and I've connected a 12 volts bulb from car, so you can see it. You can connect any other load that you want, like motor, heater, whatever you have to 12 degrees, whatever you have at 12 volts. But if you get a 24 volts, that's also fine. You can connect a 24 volts load here. So for this purpose, I'm just using this 12 volts load and leaving it like that so you can see it. I will use this heat gun. This is a Mastercraft heat gun from Canadian Tire. Let me apply heat and pay attention, because now it's below the set temperature. It's below 50, so it's already cooled. What we want is that if the temperature reaches 65, the refrigerator, this is our refrigerator, just for an example, or cooling fan or whatever it is, when it is reached above 65, which means it heated up, so the fan will start running, and it continues running until it reaches 50 and it will stop. Below this, it doesn't matter. Right now it's 24, so it is off because it is cool. For us, we want to keep it cool. Now I'm heating this up, and you will see the temperature here. So if I go a little here, you will see that it will slow down. Now 65, even 70 degrees, and as you can see, this light is on, and the cooler, the fan or whatever you have, is turned on. Now when the temperature goes back to 50, until it reaches 50, it is on, because we want to make sure that it reaches at least 50 before we turn off the cooler or the fan. So now the temperature drops, but if I hold it with my hand, it will drop significantly faster. Now when it reaches 50, that is where it turns off. So now for the heater, as you can see, P0 will move here. So for heater, this is how we do. The start is 50 and the stop is 65. Now I will press start with P0, I press this P0, as you can see, and press it again. Now I'm changing this to 50. And now go for the stop P1, press this, go up, and then press this again, and now I'm making that 65. Now Here what it means is that if the temperature, we want to keep something hot, if the temperature is below 50, it will immediately will turn on. So the heater must be on, and let's say this is a heater or a heating system, then the temperature will slowly increase and increase and increase. When it reaches 65, it will stop. Now let me do it. Pay attention here. So at 65 it turned off because we don't want to heat it up further. Now the temperature will decrease until it reaches 50. The heater will not turn on, so this will be off. Now let me hold it in my hand so the temperature reduces significantly faster. Now pay attention. As soon as it reaches 50, this will turn on, which means now the heater is turned on, and it will continue. If the heat increases at 65, it will just stop. Now I'm going to show you the time delay. So to set the time delay, we press set and go up until you see 3 and press this. Now the time delay is 0. You can set up to 10 minutes. These are all minutes, and let's set it at 1 and press this, and let me go to mode 1, and let's set this to 65. And press this, and then the stop, I'm going to use it at 50. And exit. Now I've set this to heat control because we have 1 minute delay, and because the temperature is below 50. And now this is on because we want to keep it hot. And now when it reaches 65, it will stop, but the start will happen exactly when it goes back to 50. And here we will have 1 minute delay when it reaches, so I have to make this off first. So at 65 it was turned off. Now when it reaches back to 50, let me hold it. From the time that it changes 50, it will take 1 minute before it goes it start back. So pay attention now. 54, 53, and I will time it for you so you can see exactly 1 minute it will take. Started. So now from the moment it went below 50, the time started it. And as long as the temperature doesn't go above it, within a minute this will turn on. And as you can see, it turned on within a minute. Thank you for watching the review presented by Robojax. If you learned something and found this useful, please thumb up, as this will help my video in the search algorithm of YouTube. If you have comment or question, post it at the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. If you want to get updates of my upcoming videos, you may subscribe now. Hi, welcome to a product review. Hi, welcome to a product review by Robojax. In this video, we are going to learn. Hi, welcome to a product review by Robojax. In this video, we are going to learn how we can use the W3002 temperature